Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. So we have some early news on the upcoming patch for this week. There'll be some new changes and adjustments. First of all, the quest Whispers in the Dark, which leads you to the Glyphs of the Starless Sky, had a bit of a bug with its sparkly line. It wasn't exactly leading you to the way out, so that should get fixed. Then some of the lighting will be increased in the Menzoberranzan area, along with some updates to the placement of furnishings. Now, those of you who are running the epic trial, Gzemnid's Reliquary, whenever you get frozen in ice from Hallister or Storvald, and then you jump straight away into the next phase, you could end up permanently dead because that ice could no longer be broken because you weren't being teleported back with the group. You were stuck alone in the ice and you'd end up permadead. So this should be fixed, that you will cleanse the ice upon defeating them. If you defeat Hallister or Storvald, the ice would go away. Then we have a bunch of companion changes. We can see all of the ones here, from the Alchemist, Celeste, a bunch of those golems here, Lizardfolk Shaman, the Minotaur, Portobello, and the Werewolf, all of which I will retest in terms of their damage, how much DPS they will be dealing, and adjust their data on my lists right here for AoE damage and single target damage, and we can compare the changes they've made. But to break it down simply, what they do say is the Alchemist getting greatly increased with its effectiveness, outgoing damage and healing from its flasks. Celeste should now use her damage power and heal power a lot more often, and the Cyclops War Drummer is getting a cap on the amount of damage it can deal. Its repercussion will no longer deal massive amounts of damage when you're in a group of like 10 people in a trial where everybody takes a ton of damage. Like Gzemnid, he was outperforming the top companions by like nearly doubling the amount of damage any other companion could deal. So he was a little overpowered, all things considered, and they're want to have balance so that not everybody's using the exact same companion, so that not everybody has to use the exact same companion. And otherwise, a bunch of changes to the golems. For example, the crystalline golem will no longer cause a red area on the ground that you might think you have to move out of. The pewter golem got his AoE damage increased a little bit with his crushing whirlwind, radius increased to 15 feet. With the iron golem, the area gone to 20 feet with his dazing fist, and his non-functioning passive was replaced with the golem's charge power. You can see he had draining heat, which was just a bonus critical avoidance. Now he has charge there instead, so it could deal a good bit more damage. Otherwise, the Lizardfolk Shaman, who is really underwhelming for its healing, has been made it so that he can actually heal nearby allies, not just one target. The Minotaur Mercenary had a bug with its power that could give you 1500 item level, Igneous Skin. This is being adjusted to only give 750, as that was never intended to give double the amount of item level as a normal companion. The Phase Spider had one of its powers renamed to Pounce, and that can now be a bit of an area of effect, and he's been rebalanced as hybrid. Now, Portobello Da Vinci did have a bug where he was supposed to give you advantage nullification, and we can see I have Portobello and he's not giving me advantage nullification. And the reason behind this was because only the original character which you bought Portobello with gave you advantage nullification, and then when you went to claim this companion on your alternate characters, he would just give you Precision Breaker instead of advantage nullification. So this next update will fix this so that you'll be able to use him and give you advantage nullification. However, you will have to go and actually delete your existing Portobello. So I'll do that right here. Delete companion and then re-equip him from my account-wide claim. And with that, we should obtain advantage nullification. We do indeed. Excellent. An advantage nullification, much like weapon break, is going to be really good for survivability. Even better with the advantage nullification, because you're reducing the enemy's combat advantage damage, and when you're fighting a boss, they have permanent combat advantage against everything, regardless of positioning. So you're just reducing their base damage by 7.5%. That's a huge increase to everybody's survivability when you can maintain this buff all the time. So I'm going to be happy to be able to run this in the new trial when my team needs a little bit more protection. Before, I was stuck with freaking Precision Breaker, which we still have now, but it just reduces the enemy's crit strike, which is not great. You're only reducing the chance they'll critically hit you, not reducing it to 0, so they can still critically hit you and kill you. You're better off reducing it off all their hits, or with Weapon Break, reducing it just off their critical hits, and their critical hits will be the one that will kill you, so reducing those helps. But ultimately, the Werewolf is also getting some adjustments, increasing its AoE damage, and its lycanthropy should actually work properly again, where he can turn a low-level humanoid enemy into another werewolf, which will also fight beside you. We can just have a quick look here. We summon some dummy. He should be able to turn this dummy into a lycanthropy, just turning him to another werewolf. I've seen it before, so as far as I could tell, he's not using the ability, and he won't give you the 10% critical strike unless he actually uses the bite ability. I'll test them all out a lot more in a dedicated video. We can compare their damage values like I said before. But to go with that patch, we also have an adjustment to the Dark Maiden's raid coat and the Dashing Merc's chapeau. Can be named slightly different for different classes, but effectively they gave us damage within Underdark. And you can see when you look at it like this, it shows the headpiece was giving 14% damage, when in fact that's a tooltip error of combining the armor plus the head. So that's like 10% from the armor plus 3.5% from the head, rounded up 14%. But this patch will adjust it so it no longer shows that. No longer have the tooltip error. And on top of that, there was a chance after 17 minutes that you'd gain 2 stacks of Maiden's Blade, and thus gain double the amount of damage within Underdark. And just in general, like I would gain 6% damage, and then you'd gain double that in Underdark, and that would be doubled again if you had 2 stacks. So you could obtain 24% damage when you had 2 of these stacks. Now, it's not just that can double. There are other things, other rings and bonuses that can double over time, but apparently they thought this was a priority fix, and they're doing it. Now, something that's really nice, quality of life improvement indeed, is the benefit that the campaign, the legacy campaign, Icewind Dale, if you want to complete that on alternate characters, you could use Genie Gifts. However, you still ran into the issue of reputation. You had to go and do quests to grind out the reputation to actually get these boon points. You needed 350 reputation to get to the maximum, I believe. And now Genie Gifts are actually going to give you the reputation. Make sure to only use them when you get times to the amount of currency for Icewind Dale, and that way you'll get the biggest value. Just wait in the calendar, you can see that many of them end up with ×2. Like right now, ×2 Storm King's Thunder, ×2 Jungles of Chult. You can see the rest there, and use the Genie Gifts when we get ×2 Icewind Dale, and that'll allow you to quickly get these boon points nice and easily. Before, it was really frustrating having to do those quests. Anyway, it made Genie Gifts kind of pointless for this campaign. But ultimately, you may have seen in my video last week, they're adjusting the Raptors, so you'll now actually see them in your buff bar. You'll see them up here when you're given them from other players. For example, right here, pause screen, this is from my previous video, we have the Raptors buff here, this blue sword, and I'm giving my teammate the blue sword, the tamed raptor, plus the green shield, the feral raptor. This is very nice to be able to see, because then I can run the tamed raptor, which is just labeled the raptor, and the feral raptor, and give everybody in my team who actually uses a raptor 3.75% power and 3.75% awareness. As long as somebody's using a raptor, they'll gain both the benefits from my raptors. Again, just as you see here, I'm giving him the feral raptor and the tamed raptor, while he's just giving me the tamed. So you will only see a maximum of 4 stacks on your buff bar because you don't give your own self a stack on your buff bar from these Raptors. Now there'll be a link in the video description below where you can read through the patch notes yourself. However, keep in mind they were posted early, and they were posted early for the Italian. So it's a direct translation, and you'll see some things a little bit funny, like Portobello giving cancellation of perk instead of advantage nullification, that being the direct translation. But again, just be aware that with the Raptor buff here, you will only see a maximum of 4 stacks, one from each other player. You don't give your own self a stack as shown on the buff bar, but you do effectively give your own self these buffs by having them slotted here. So hopefully this has been somewhat insightful to you guys. Some decent updates. Massive thanks again to all these channel members for their added support, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.